one. Okay, so here we have our next one. You can see it still is a consecutive one, but we have one that says 3 consecutive odd. So let's read the problem going from left to right. The sum of 3 consecutive odd integers is 89 less than twice the largest integer. Did we hear any danger words, than and from? Yes, we did. If you hear a danger word, you're going to box it in. Right? So notice we have the word than here. Notice I'm boxing it in. Once it's boxed in, you know you're going to pivot. Now the question is, how far back do you go or how far front do you go? Well, we know this is the equal sign. So this is where it starts pivoting. So this 89 has to go in the back part. Now the question is, how much of this has to go in the front part? Well, if you don't see a comma, or if you don't see an equal sign, or you don't see a period until the very end, then this whole phrase needs to go in front. Okay? So we know that we have a danger word, so notice I just put the pivot. Now that you got through the pivot, the next part, step 2, is determine what type of consecutive problem that you're doing. Are we doing the x with the x plus 1 and the x plus 2, the gaps of 1s? Or are we doing the other one, x plus 2, and x plus 4, the gaps of 2s? Well, let's see. It says 3 consecutive odd. It tells us, it gives us a condition. It has to be odd integers. So you know your answer is going to have to be odd. Let's go back to this chart. We know that if it says consecutive odd, it gives us that condition. We're going to use this bottom row, this line B or the red line, that we're going to use if we need one integer, x, if we need 2 integers, this, x and x plus 2. And if we need 3 of them, this, and this. So we know our problem says 3 consecutive. So I'm going to say that I need x, that's the first integer, x plus 2, that's my second odd one, and x plus 4. Now even though it says odd, I don't care that these are 2 and 4. Because you know that anytime you do a gap of odd numbers, the space is always 2. That's why they're 2 and 4. Once we have 1, 2, 3 of them, we're going to cross this whole phrase out because we have it here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we can go to step 3, translate. So we know that the sum of means that I'm going to add. We know is, we told you before, is equal. Less, that's a subtraction symbol. Now be careful here. Twice the largest integer. Twice means that we're going to do 2 times something. Anytime I twice something or double something, think of that as times 2. So here we have twice, so we're going to do 2 times. Now what are we multiplying? The largest integer. Let's take a second and talk about largest integer. Here we have 3 integers. Which one do you think is the largest? We know largest is the one that we add the most stuff to. So it can't be this. That's your smallest. This is a little larger, but it's not the largest. This one, if we're adding 4, this is your largest. So we can cross out this phrase and put in x plus 4. But be careful. When we get to step 5, when I rewrite things, notice that anytime I said that I have the word smaller, larger, first, second, or third, I'm going to use parentheses for these words. So when I plug in that x plus 4, it goes in a set of parentheses. So see how I have the word largest? There's technically a set of parentheses here because x plus 4 needs to go in parentheses. Another reason why you want to use parentheses is because we're doing multiplication. Remember, when I write out in an equation, I don't like using this little asterisk. I like to use parentheses. So I'm multiplying this in parentheses and this whole thing in parentheses. Okay? All right. Now that I've crossed everything out for the most part, we're going to look to see if I have any ands. No ands. So now I can start rewriting the problem out. Now notice it starts with an operation symbol. I don't like to start with an operation symbol. Remember, most of our problems start with either a number or a variable. So what are we adding? It says add the 3 consecutive integers. So I'm going to take this, this, and this, and add them. So let's write it down. We take the first integer, x. We're going to add it to the second integer, x plus 2. And we're going to add it to the third integer, x plus 4. It's going to equal, now remember, we're flipping this around. So don't write down 89 first. We have to write this part first. 2. And remember, because it's multiplication, I use parentheses, x plus 4 in parentheses. So this goes in front, minus, and I'll squeeze in 89, because that goes in the second part. Now that you have this big equation, you know how to do this. This is going back to 2.2, and just take your time. Remember your 4 steps: simplify, label, move, divorce. So on this side, we can simplify. Even though there's no parentheses, we have like terms. Remember? Variable, variable, constant, variable, constant. So I circle my like items. Variables can go with other variables, can go with other variables. Now these two are like, but they're not the same as a variable. So I'll just box them in to show that these two go together separately. Now this is a positive, and this is a positive, and this is a positive. If they're all the same, we can add them all at once. There's an understood 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3 then. Positive, positive, positive. Who wins? They're all a tie, but they all play for the same team. Now, if one was a positive and this was a negative and this was a positive, then you can only do 2 at a time. Okay? And this is a positive 2, and this is a positive 4. 2 positives you add. This one, we do have a winner of tug of war. 2 versus 4. Team 4 wins, so team positive. Okay, so this is simplify. Remember, this is a coefficient, variable, constant, nothing matches. Let's focus on this side. Do we have any parentheses? Yes. So you have to get rid of these parentheses first. So 2 times x, 2x. 2 times 4, 8. This is outside the parentheses, so bring it down. Do you have any like terms? This and this. Coefficient, variable, constant, constant. So we can simplify this. This is a positive, this is a negative. You're going to get a negative 81. Remember, subtract. Who wins the tug of war? 89 players, so team negative. So we have 3x plus 6 equals 2x minus 81. Let's label. We got variables on this side, variables on this side. So this side's going to be variable. This side's going to be constant. All right, let's move this 6 over. Now, because I'm looking at both sides of the equation, I'm picking this up and putting it on the opposite side of the equals. That's why I did the additive inverse here. Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. They cancel out. So you're going to get negative 87. Remember, negative, negative, stays negative. You can see I can move this 2x over now, because I want all my variables over here on the left. They cancel out. So I'm left with 3x minus 2x, which is 1x. Remember, positive, negative, subtract. And hopefully you'll realize that 1x is the same thing as x, which will equal negative 87. Now, make sure that once this is x by itself, pay attention to what the question is asking you to look for. It says find the integers. It doesn't say find the smallest. If it says find the smallest, then you know this is your final answer. It wants you to find 3 integers. So if we know the first one is x, So that's your first integer. To get your second integer, you have to take your answer and add 2. Be careful. Negative 87 plus 2, negative and a positive, you actually subtract. And you get negative 85. Remember, it is getting bigger. Would you rather owe someone $87? Would you rather owe someone 85? I'd rather owe someone only 85. It's getting bigger. We're greedy people with money. We'll always pick the larger one. To get the next one, we're going to have to add 4 to x. So take the 87, negative, but add a positive 4. Negative and a positive, you know we're going to subtract. So this is how we're going to get negative 83. Remember, who wins the tug of war? 87 players, team negative. See how each one of these are odd numbers? And would I rather have $87, owe someone 85, or owe someone 83? That is the largest. This is the smallest. There's your 1, 2, 3 integers, because we're dealing with 3 consecutive odd integers.